My name is Renzo Gracie. I was born in March 11, 1967. I'm the third on the Gracie generation. I'm from the third generation. And I've been doing Jiu-jitsu since I was 5. And I'm 47 years old now, and I love what I do every day. To me, Jiu-jitsu was more like a natural thing. Every time I remember playing with my father, even before I began training, had something to do with training and fighting and grabbing his back and controlling, put the hooks on. So since the beginning, every time I jump on his back, he would tell me to put the hooks on. So I think it was my whole life. At 5, I began actually going to the academy with frequency, and at 7, I did my first competition. I was a champion for the first time when I was 7 years old. To me, it's my religion. It changed my way of seeing. I can't see things the same way as everybody does because I see through Jiu-jitsu eyes. You know, I see ways to achieve, I see ways to make possible. It's like people think we sell Jiu-jitsu, we sell a martial arts to our students and to the people around us. We don't. In reality, we're selling we sell self-confidence, we're selling a positive lifestyle. Jiu-jitsu is not just a martial art, it's a lifestyle. If you take Jiu-jitsu out of me, you're gonna have an empty shell. It's like everything that I am and everything that I think is guided by Jiu-jitsu, you know, and I can thank my grandfather enough for bringing our family into this, you know. It's like it was the chance to see people that before they were empty and they were like weak, and I saw them transforming, and I helped them, you know, becoming a father and build a family and be running companies that their family had it. And so in reality, we are selling confidence, we're giving them confidence. And this was the biggest gift I ever received in my life, was to learn Jiu-jitsu so I could pass forward. I always loved Jiu-jitsu. I always enjoyed the moments that I was in the mat and training, sweating, and measuring myself against others at my age. But I really fell in love, I think, when I was around 18. That's when I really decided that I want to be not only a instructor of Jiu-jitsu for the rest of my life, but I was going to be a champion on the sport that I embrace. I do believe that what makes a champion, it's the ability of not quitting, not giving up. You have to have in you knowing that even when defeat surprises you, in reality, it's just another step, another wall that you have to jump over to reach your goal. And when you think like that, when you're able to see defeat only as a new step to overcome failure and build a champion, like if you can see that, like there's no losing in Jiu-jitsu. It's or you either win or you learn. I always saw the MMA fighting as you becoming a pro on the Jiu-jitsu sport. In my head, every top Jiu-jitsu guy should be representing in the MMA fights, you know, and I thought that was just the next step, was the evolution of what I was doing, was to evolve into an MMA fighter. Like that would be the ultimate test, the ultimate chance to test myself against someone else, you know, to test the level of my skills. And I think life, just like a river, took me there. And I remember back then there was no money involved, and in my first fight I made $900. I gave 300 to my mother, 300 to my father, kept 200 for myself. I gave $100 to my brother, to my young brother. So in reality, it's like it wasn't for the money. It was actually, I always thought that I would have to do another job on the side and do Jiu-jitsu because it was my passion for the rest of my life. But unfortunately, the sport grew so much and the money came in, and I was lucky to hit that tap on the right time. One of the most important things that ever happened to Jiu-jitsu, I do honestly believe, was the rivalry that we always had. It's like, was about showing which martial art was better. You know, and Brazil and Rio de Janeiro in particular was a very fertile ground for that martial art to evolve that much, because you had the freedom to fight anytime you wanted. You know, it's like someone look at you longer than he should, you would get in a fight. And it gets to a point that when you start getting, the fighters start getting good, they would have fights between themselves. One was from Luta Livre, the other one was from Taekwondo. You would meet and fight. You would meet in a backyard, you would meet in in a gym and do the fight right there. And I think was the most important, now I realize that was the most important time for Jiu-Jitsu, because it was that competitiveness and that we always were looking for the edge, always looking to eat better, to improve our lifestyle, to make better athletes, to make better people, to make better fighters, that actually made this sport evolve so much. You know, it was amazing how the sport grew from when Hollis began competing and doing his things to today, you know, and how fast it was. It evolved in one generation more than, you know, all the others before. And I do believe Rio de Janeiro in particular, and Brazil, and the freedom of testing ourselves and measuring ourselves against others was the most important thing to make that amazing tree grow. My life was crazy, the whole life. There's not one moment that goes above the others. It was the whole thing. And it's funny because a lot of times I talk about writing a book, but it would shock people, you know. And it was a different country, a different time, a different way of seeing things. I was shot at the first time. I was 16 years old. It broke my femur. I had to stay a year in bed. But this was the first time they actually hit me. They shot at me many times before, since I was 14. And I'm lucky to be here to tell you these stories, you know, and the intensity, and for sure things could have gone wrong, you know. Thank God it didn't. I have 3 amazing kids now, and they believe I'm a normal guy, and I'm far from that. On the beginning, like I was around 16, and that's when Jiu-Jitsu started having problems with Luta Livre, and during a party, a 15-year-old birthday party, we end up having a fight in there. And the thing would escalate pretty quick because there was bottles everywhere, glasses, and they were throwing, and my friends were all knocked out. And I had to defend them. As I was holding the ground there, I was pushing a lot of people and hurting a lot of people at the same time. A guy pulled out a gun and shot me. And I remember I still run after him with 2 broken glasses in my hand. And he took off with his, with his gun. You know, and when I turned, my leg gave up, you know, so I grabbed the pillar and I turned and I started hopping in one leg. He came back and he unloaded, but he wasn't able to hit me, you know. He shot everywhere, but hit me. I walked straight into a woman's bathroom, and the women's, I was screaming in there. I look at them, I say, there's a guy killing everybody in the club, shooting at everybody, and he's coming this way. If you guys let him in, we all dead. So we had 15 women holding the door. So the guy could never make his way in the bathroom while I sat in the toilet fixing my leg. You know, it was some pretty intense moments, but life always gives me a chance to fix things. So a few years later, I'm driving in a rainy day through a tunnel, 4 o'clock in the morning, the street's empty. When I look in a motorcycle, who's there? Riding right next to me, the guy who shot me. So they used to say, Socrates used to say, if you put the veil of invisibility, you'd become a killer in 24 hours. That night, I had that veil, you know, and I rode next to him for like at least 15 minutes. The whole time we were going together, he probably was going towards his house. And I was considering if I would hit him and kill him or let it go. And then I realized that was the heat of the moment. We are fighters. We were having actually fun on that day. He was a coward for pulling a gun and shooting me, and I could never be the same coward as he did and kill him in a coward way.
Master Renzo, I actually knew Ryan, by the way. And Ryan, you know, was in, you know, you never knew what day he would wake up, how it would be. How did that feel for you when he passed? Like, did you really talk about it before?
Yeah, my brother, I was very attached to him. I was basically, my father separated from my mother. I was the one responsible for raising my younger brother, Ryan. And was one of the most amazing guys I ever met, you know. But at the same time, he was a wild animal. He was different from everybody else. And I had the privilege to live with a wild animal without getting bit. Sometimes he scratched me, especially on the training sessions. But it was the best friend I had and the most amazing human being to me, you know. And it was always very tough after he died, I could not even, I still, I still can think of him without crying. It's been almost 70 years. And to me, he's still with me all the time. I miss him a lot. But it's, the funny thing is, that is the only certainty we have when we are born. And we actually should have accepted better. And sometimes the tears that I drop is because I miss him next to me. But in reality, I know he outlives us all, because the time was something invented by man. And in reality, we don't measure a man's life by the time that he lived. We measure a man's life by the intensity that he lived. And nobody that I know lived longer than he did. Thank you, Pa.